Well, folks, welcome to the Go for Diamond call this evening. This evening is a very important call. Even though it is simplistic, it is critical. And this is the kind of training that you would want every single member in your organization to be exposed to. Again, it is a basic training, so don't look at this as, well, I know how it works. It's not just about you, it's about your organization. If you want to earn a solid income with Max International, it is important that you duplicate the right activities. And one of the activities is you want your associates to become autonomous, so they don't just always depend on you to sponsor someone into the system, or to know how much money they've earned so far, or when are they going to get paid, and all these important details. So Tammy is really going to be taking the lead here on the back office training, and of course I'll be assisting in providing the details, making sure that we cover all angles. So why don't we begin? Oh, by the way, before we begin, I want to remind everybody that these calls are recorded, and you can find them on activeteam.com under the video or the audio. And also I want to remind you of the calendar for you to be aware of upcoming events. There is an event coming very soon, which is June 21st, 22nd. When I say soon, is we're preparing for an event, and this is in Canada, in Toronto. And we're expecting anywhere between 150 to 200 associates to attend. So we highly, highly recommend for you to prepare for that event and to let your team know to be available for this event. It is recorded.
Okay, so let's get started. So the back office training, there's a few categories that we're going to go through, and keep in mind when I personally go through with a brand new associate the back office training platform, I like to know where they're at. You know, what are their goals? What do they want to achieve with this? How fast do they want to run with it? Because when you know that, it's going to be easier for you to work with them through the virtual office. And you want to make sure that you're not overwhelming your brand new people, okay? Because they can always go back and refer to the back office video trainings. And I'll share with you throughout the process the most important ones that I personally spend a lot of time with when I'm doing the simple back office training. So here you have the login, which is max.com, www.max.com. And that takes you to the main site. And from the main site, you can go into your virtual office, or you can go directly into your virtual office and bypass the max.com and go to www.mymaxoffice.com and make sure that you have your username, ID number, and your password. So you've got the training that we're going to briefly go through. You have reviewing reports that we're going to go through. Commissions, which is exciting to know that the numbers are growing, that you're going to be able to keep an eye on. And online registration and placement. How do you place people? How do you get people started? And of course, you've got the mymaxpay.com. And here you can see this is the main page, max.com. And you can see circled in red at the top right-hand corner is the login section. So here you see the mymaxoffice.com. That will take you right there. Or, like I said, you can go directly to www.mymaxoffice.com. And here you would put your username or password and your password, and then you would log in. Sometimes the username does not work. Use the ID number that you have if you find the username is not working for you. And then you click on login. And of course, if you forget your password, you click down on the bottom and they'll send you an email and you can follow through to create a new password.
Yeah, this is something I just want to pause for a minute here. First of all, I've always used my ID, even from 12 years ago, starting with Max. I've never used the username that it asks you to create. So just for, food for thought. The other thing about the password, this is a very common problem that we hear. And people don't realize that you can recover your password. So whoever owns this back office will have their email. So simply go through it with them if you don't know how, or tell them to click forgot password link, and from there it will simply confirm the email, and then the password will be sent to them, and then you'll be able to get access to their back office again.
So here's the home page once you log in, and you can see on the left hand side, we're going to go through the things on the left hand side, all the components that are there, which is you know, how to function with your business. And on the right hand side are simple things to click on that you'll use on a regular basis: enrollments, snapshot, checking out your business, how to shop, setting up your auto ship, and you can see status. I want to mention that in the right hand corner at the top, when it says inactive, that simply means you haven't placed an order yet. That's why we always encourage people to set up their auto ship the first day of the month, so immediately you'll see that your status will be active.
I just want to also to add, you can access the same information on the right hand side and the left hand side. And also you'll notice that your timeline here, these are activities like if, let's say, someone's auto ship didn't go through, or someone's credit card didn't go through, whatever the situation is, because it's expired, you'll have messages in each section. And again, pay attention to that, because it might, again, help you staying alert to what's going on. And what you see here, as you can see, are the past 3 months, right? The current month, the month prior, and the month before that, right? How many associates on the left and on the right that are new and that are active. And by the way, this is a back office that was done from a back office in Nigeria at the time. So it's, you'll notice that the NGN, I mean, this is the Nigerian Naira. Okay, so don't be too alarmed if you see some big numbers. These are not US dollars, but the functionality are exactly the same. So at this point, the reason why we want to show you this slide is, obviously Max does not have an app right now, because the Max website is what we call mobile friendly. So when you're on the mobile phone, obviously things are designed for that little screen, and you'll notice that 3 bars on the top left corner, this is a menu that will expand or go down, if you understand what I'm saying here, that will give you the opportunity to access the functionality as we were sharing earlier on the actual website. Okay, so just so you're informed, as many of you are aware of this, but if you're new, sometime you might not be aware that this website is mobile friendly.
And then you can see the training when you click on the sidebar on the left hand side. You can see training, and you've got to scroll down. You can see getting started, my virtual office, new associate training, and little training segments there. So what I recommend is to go through them when you have time to know what's there. When you're brand new, you can see the circled areas that are important, which is my virtual office, to get some basic trainings on that. And then you've got some training resources as well that you'll want to go through when you're brand new in the business.
So when we get into the training aspect, I wanted to point out that Max will provide training that are more on the generic aspect. For example, the use of the back office, how to enroll someone in your back office, and we'll walk through this in a minute. I want to make sure you make the distinction between the training that Temi and I do coming from Active Team and the training coming from Max International. It's not we're trying to double do what they're doing. We're simply into more details as to what does an associate have to do to be able to earn an income with Max. What are the money-making activities, right? So just keep in mind that these trainings that Max, the resources that Max have, are very good, but they really are designed for you to orient yourself around the tools and a general overview of the industry of network marketing.
All right. So in the virtual office training, as you can see, there's some segment videos there, very short videos, very simple instructions on how to, the overview of the virtual office, and so how to sign somebody up in the business, like very simple videos for brand new people to get started and learn how to do it.
So you'll notice here, if you follow my mouse here, that you have some status over here. This is for you to be aware that if, for example, let's say that you've reached a gold rank, right? So it will tell you here that you're a gold associate. That happens to be a senior associate back office, but it will tell you that you're a gold associate here. Paid rank would be what you are up to this particular month, because we know sometimes we reach a PIN level, but things could have changed in our business and we're not getting paid as a gold, we're getting paid as a silver. Well, you will see here as a silver, right? And at this point, the next paid rank here, it will say gold. So it means that you're working towards your gold status, or if you happen to be a gold and your paid rank is a gold, then the next paid rank will say platinum. And it gives you a certain percentage based on the criteria that the company looks at for you to qualify for the next paid rank.
And as you can see here, you got training resources. You can click there where you got the circle, and that will walk you through the training platform. You got a great welcome message from Joe Wojcicki, and you've got some download worksheets that you can work with and do all the exercises in the sessions.
And the point is, when you look at the new associate training, this is not the same the training that we do for the new associate orientation. Again, that's a distinction I want you to understand. This is an orientation that is coming from our CEO.
And as I mentioned, there's a download sheet. You got a welcome letter, you know, setting up auto ship, your personal why, your everyday statement. So there's many trainings there for you to learn and do the exercises so you can follow each sequence so you can get better in learning skills in the business.
Yes, I highly recommend for you to follow through with that. So when you're looking at here, now we're going to get into reports, and Tammy's going to spend a bit of time on this. And folks, this is important that you are aware of what's going on in your business. If you're not aware of what's going on in your business, it's just like you going to do your work at your job or what it is that you're doing for financial resources for your family, and you never go to the bank, you never check what's in the bank, you never check what's been paid, you don't check if anything went wrong with your transaction, you never check, you never go in there, right? And many people, that's what they do, is they barely never go into the back office. So as homework tonight, I do recommend for you to click some of those buttons. I mean, nothing's going to break. You know, click the buttons and see what shows. And based on that, is common sense. You can read what's on the screen and then just kind of venture into what this means. And often you may say, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about this. So, and again, this is what this training is all about, is for you to be aware of this functionality and to utilize it, right? So right now we're going to be focusing on the snapshot, which is a really important aspect. This is probably where Tammy go every single day. This is the first place we go, and your organization.
Yeah, you probably won't use a lot of these icons throughout the day, but it's something that we do recommend to get familiar with so you know what each one is. And you can see on the sidebar there, you can see the tree format in where the organization is, left and right. And you can see different segments here towards the bottom.
So what's going on over here is when you click on your snapshot, it gives you a summary of your organization. And these are kind of shortcuts to areas that you're going to be focusing on. And this is pretty much what you'll be using most of the time. Again, this is a reflection to when you first log in. I was telling you that you have the current month and the month previous to that and the previous month to that. In other words, the last 3 months from the current month. And at that point, it gives you a status of what's going on your left team and on your pay team and so forth, right? So this is what it is. So we're going to kind of walk you through on what's going on right now. So if we click on your downline,
Okay, so now you can see the organization, the tree side, whether they're left or right. And I really don't spend a lot of time in this area. The most important thing you need to know here is whether the volume is active. And if not, you have people's phone numbers that you can connect with them to see where they're at in their business. Often when people are not active, especially towards the end of the month, they might have some challenges. Financially, they might have some challenges in not knowing what to do. So it's really important to follow through with the team members and see where they're at in their business.
I think what's very important here as a message, when you are building a business and you sponsored, let's say, 10 people, right? Or 10 people in your business that are personally sponsored by you. You may have more, but you can choose to say, okay, everything that says level 1, these are people you're personally brought in. 0 is you. So if you're not active, well, you're not leading by example, right? So, and like Tammy stated, contact your associates, right? Go through the month, say, hey, John, I noticed that there's a week left here and you haven't placed your order. Can I help you? Do you have any questions or concerns? And folks, what I found just by doing that, if all of you on this call do this as of tomorrow, the volume in your business will grow. And if you duplicate that, I assure you, you may hit a new pin level within 30 days from now. It's really interesting, but that's how important that is. When there's a check mark, and you can see the PV, which stands for personal volume, will show that they have met the requirement of the order for the month, right? So that's what's so important here, is to make sure that this is not a circle with an X in it, but it has a check mark, a green check mark stating, okay, all our associates are active.
And then you can also check your volume history in this section. You can check your personal volume, carry forward volumes, both left and right, and active volumes in that qualifying month. And then you've got a period of months right up, to the day you started in the business, that qualifying month. So you will have a number of them when you're in this business for quite a while.
Sure, absolutely. So in moving forward, which is also very important here, is the commission report. See, the prime bonus, as you know, we've been very strong and very persistent in explaining how to build your business, and the foundation is primes, right? So your goal is to, obviously you want to have a number here. If it says number 1, that means you qualify as a prime level 1 in that current month. If it says number 2, that means you qualify as prime level 2. If it says number 3, that means you qualify prime level 3. So in the same time, you can also check your downlines if they're qualified by looking at this report. So when you click on their genealogy, and we'll show that to you in a minute when we show the genealogy tree, you can check their page, right, and their snapshot. And from that snapshot, you get the exact same format, but instead of being you, it'll be their data. So you can see what's going on in their business, right? And that happens to be the commission report. So again, there's a lot of information here, but it's just like a car. You don't need to know everything, all the functionality of your car or your computer or your cell phone. Most of the time, you're going to use the same functionality that you do on a daily basis. You don't have to worry about all the rest of the stuff. It's the same thing here. So don't be overwhelmed by all the buttons. Just focus on what is needed for you to do the activities that are important to build your business.
And here you've got the monthly commissions. You've got a graph of where you're growing in your volumes and your incomes. And when I say volumes, it's your incomes. And then, of course, the next one, you've got your weekly commissions that you can have a look at. And I love the graph. It just helps you see where you're going and where you want to be, and set some goals.
And you can see here that it's very kind of straightforward, right? And again, you can, like let me say, it could be monthly, it could be weekly, and then you can actually see the commissions. Again, this is not $20,000, folks, or $13,000, right? This is Naira. Just keep in mind. So, and again, these are the period, which in this case was the week, and prior to that, it was the month.
So if you want to break down those commissions to see where the income comes from, because it's interesting, because sometimes I get people started and they say, well, I just made all this money and I don't know where it's coming from. So here they're able to look in their commissions and to break it down to see where the commissions are coming from. You got your fast start commissions, you got your binary commissions, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so what you'll find is as you're starting earning a commission and you start earning out of 9 different ways on how we get paid, you're going to see the graph and some of the information will be a bit more, there will be a bit more data for you to click on to see, well, what's my binary team volume? Well, in this case, we're seeing the fast start and we're seeing the weekly withholding. Again, these are some of the things where maybe something happened in this case, where there was some returns, maybe there was some, you know, again, it's hard to say the exact reason for that, but obviously something that the company has paid, you know, counted for you has been deducted due to something that's been reduced. Again, could have been, in this case, a return or something. So, and again, this is very important for you to be aware of. And again, you can do this through your commission. Often, folks, when I travel, I use my cell phone, and it's very effective. You just have to get used to the functionality. And if I happen to be in front of my computer, again, the same thing. And I really recommend it. If you have not done that yet, go in your back office and just venture in a little bit.
All right, and then you've got My Earnings as well. You know, when people are brand new, they don't need to go through all of this stuff, and over time they're going to see this, these sections, and encourage them to look at this stuff. But obviously, for those of you who are earning commissions, you can see when you click on My Earnings, you've got your pays there.
Absolutely. And again, that was, if you remember on the back-end side, there's just a menu right below the My Commission, which shows My Earnings. So now let's get into the very important step. There's 2 ways to get into the enrollment, right? You can enroll someone by selecting the option on the left-hand side or the big buttons on the right-hand side, as you can see on the screen here.
All right. So this is definitely one of the things that I teach brand new people how to do, is to enroll people, because you're encouraging them to get their business rolling right away. I like to spend time on action-driven things. So enrollment is, we encourage them to and teach them to place people so they learn placement, and so they can see the graph of their organization, which we will show you. So enroll a new associate place, if they click on that.
Okay. Now, in this particular case, what happens is if you go back to your snapshot and you click on your binary tree, okay, and now we're going to show you where, what Tammy was showing you earlier is you can click right on the button, right, as we went back here. If you click right on this button, it's going to take you right to the registration process, and it places it automatically. Now, in this case, what happens is you're actually clicking on the binary tab, and then you click on the binary tree, and when that occurs, then you will actually see the binary tree. And now we're looking into manually placing the person in the genealogy tree. And you'll notice that you have a circle on the far right and on the far left. Why is that? Because when you train someone new, you have to get them to understand the placement is always bottom left, bottom right. Is it possible that it may not be there? Yes. You can place them anywhere you want. But why would you want to do this if you don't have an organization yet? There's always a reason why you would want to place someone outside of either the left, or bottom right. And my recommendation is don't make that decision on your own. Consult with an upline who has experience to give you some guidelines as to why would you want to place someone outside of these 2 areas. Otherwise, for example, if you'd say, oh, I want to fill all, there's people that think, I see an empty, I want all my empty spots to be filled. So what they do is they were sponsoring people all, clicking all these buttons, right? And what's happening here is that you are not creating a team that supports each other. You're dividing your members by putting them all over the tree. And I've done that. And I hope Dr. Bright wouldn't mind this, but he did that. Dr. Bright was filling in every position, all right, at one point, and he had like 18 people like this. That's how he started. I said, Dr. Bright, we got to work on that, right? And then finally he turned around, he recognized, okay, that's my right, that's my left, and that's what he stuck with until today. And today's a crown diamond, folks. So you can make lots of mistakes and still hit the crown. But the fact here, folks, is that I want you to understand that if you want to grow your business faster, then focus on bottom left, bottom right. And that's why this is so important. Anything you want to add, Tammy, to that?
Yeah, and the key is to keep it simple. So it's outer left, outer right, and you teach your new person outer left, outer right, and they're going to teach their new person outer left, outer right. And if everybody's duplicating, then all these blues that you're seeing are going to be people, because everybody's building the way they're supposed to be building this business. So outer left, outer right, that's all you need to remember. Okay, once you click on that, now you're in the enrollment process. So online enrollment, you see on the top corner on the right, you pick the country, the language, and then you place the order. You've got, you can click on all the scroll for the packages. You've got the premier packages, the professional packages, and the personal packs, and it'll be in the currencies of each country. Okay, so it's very straightforward. And then you go to the next step if they want to add some product. Yeah. Step 2.
Yeah, before we go there, and it's very important, folks, that just to make the connection from the genealogy tree we shared with you, when you click on the blue rectangle or whatever, circle rectangle, when you click on that, that's what opens up. Exactly what you see right now before you. Okay? Now, and again, I reemphasize here that it just happens that that was done in Nigeria, and it happens to be the country where, let's say, we happen to be sponsoring. If you happen to be in Canada or the United States or Ghana, obviously when you click this button, all the country will display, and you make sure you select the right country, and you'll notice that the packages will vary based on the country and the currency, right? So what Tammy was sharing here is step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It walks you through it. Step 1 is you start with your packages, you select your products, right?
If they want to add an extra product, they can add a product in the process, and then they can set up their auto ship in the process, and then they fill out the information here, and they move forward into the shipping part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the point that's important here is that obviously we kind of skipped the step 2 and step 3, but when you go through step 2 and 3, it's going to ask you to also, you want extra products over and above one of the packages you want, and also it's going to ask you to set your auto ship. And within the auto ship process in North America, we actually have the packages that will be called the preferred customer price, or I should say the auto ship. The words are not coming here tonight, Tammy.
Auto ship.
But the preferred price as an auto ship. If you set your auto ship,
loyalty.
The loyalty price, right? So again, this is where you're going to see all of that, and this occurs from step 2 and step 3, right? And now as you're getting to step 4, now we're putting the information of your associate, and if it happens to be, let's say that this is, for example, where they want the product to be shipped to, which is their house, or maybe the office, it happens. But the address is where you live, right? Where your credit card is associated. The address is associated with your credit card. If it's the same and you click on that, you don't have to enter it again. It'll just be filled in automatically.
And of course, you want to fill out the information on the right-hand side. Make sure that you put your date of birth. You want to create your username, password, your first name, last name. If there's a co-applicant, you can put the name there. And then it asks a couple of questions, the agreements, just click those and process. move forward.
Yes, and what you see on the left-hand side here, will call. It happens to be like in Nigeria, they don't ship products unless the associate, there's a special arrangement among the leadership and associates, but people go to offices in Nigeria, in Ghana to pick up their products, right? So, for example, if the order is being placed, will call, which means that they're going to go and pick it up in the office. It just happens to be in the way it works here. So it's kind of good for you to see how it works internationally. But in your case, you would see your orders over here, you would confirm the details, and then from there you do the payment, you click agree, and then you go through the process of the payment. And when it's done, you received your order was completed successfully. And then you get your order confirmation, and of course you're going to get your associate ID. It's important that your leaders are aware of that, right? Don't just kind of hold it for them and kind of make sure that they don't have to worry about it, right? You want to make sure that people are autonomous here. If you created a username, it will show over here, right? And then from there, what I usually do often when I sponsor someone, I will take a snapshot of this. If you're not comfortable doing this with your computer, get your cell phone ready, take a picture with your cell phone, and text it over to them, right? That's a way you can do that. Or you can do a snapshot from your screen if you know how to do that, save it, attach it as an email, and send it to the person. So that way they have that in their inbox. It's just good practice for you to have.
So you want to make sure that they go to the App Store also and have this on their phone. MyMaxPay app. It's great because you can move money around when you get paid your commissions from your phone as well. So the moment the company triggers a commission check for you, you will get an email and it'll explain how to set up your MyMaxPay account. And through that, as you can see on the picture, you can apply for the Visa debit card. You just send your mailing address and they will mail that to you. And then you can start loading up your card and use that if you choose to. It works international. And there are fees. So like any credit card, there's going to be fees in using the card. And so just follow the instructions on that.
Now, looking at your MaxPay, Max has designed this where once a year there is a fee for the service. And this is something, it's just no big deal. The fact here, I think it's $10 a year or something like that. I'm not sure. The fact here is that there's one free transaction monthly. So this is designed for you to have, okay, for example, me, every single month, after the 15th, as we all know, this is the date that we get our paycheck into our account. And then all the AutoShip customers, everything that went on, the Fast Start commission, everything gets added in there. For me, I don't transfer things every time there's $1 in there because, again, there's a transaction fee every time you do a withdrawal. So me, once the bigger bulk of the payment is in the account, once a month, I take that and I manually transfer it into my personal account. And as a Canadian citizen, for example, what I do is I put everything into my U.S. account, and then I only transfer in Canadian funds what I need in Canadian funds, because Tammy and I do a lot of activities with the U.S. dollar, so we prefer keeping things in the U.S., right? Some of you may choose to go directly into your Canadian account and get everything transferred by the bank, right? So these are choices you have to make, but again, these are the options that you have to be able to access your funds with Max International.
So the resources there, max.com, you've got some video, product, science. I recommend anybody who's new, they go through that so that they can see what's available, because you can click on products, you've got the videos there, you've also got a breakdown of the ingredients and what each ingredient does. So you have everything accessible to be able to forward to other people as well that you're prospecting in the process. So leverage that, learn from it before you start sending people to this site.
Now in this case, obviously we're not going to do a Q&A session and discussion session, but my recommendation here is send this video to your new associates, just so you have a general orientation of how the back office works. From that point on, make sure that they connect with you. Ask them, ask them if they have any questions, and if you need upline support, then reach your upline support to be able to get some help. The moment your downline becomes efficient, so they can log into their account and enroll people on their own, look what they're up to as far as their income is at, you're going to see some amazing changes in your business. But if you always take care of everything for everybody, what happens is you enable your downline, and your downline does not grow. It's like children that never leaves the house, and you always need to feed, right? So you need to create independent young parents, if you know what I'm saying. So that comes to the end of our presentation training here, folks. We hope that was enjoyable and helpful for you. And next week, we'll have a wonderful training. This is the end of our Success Cycle series. And next week, we'll have a training that will be conducted by One Other Leadership in reference to some important topic that we want to share with you. So have yourself a great evening, folks.
Good evening.
Bye-bye now.